Well, I think we're going to continue to see tremendous momentum in.
Hey there, future millionaires! Welcome back to the channel. It's so good to have you here with me today. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing day, no matter where you are in this beautiful world of ours. Today, we're diving deep into some seriously exciting XRP news that I just had to share with you. Remember that previous video where I broke down Ripple's massive G-Treasury acquisition? Well, let me tell you, this is even bigger than we initially thought. Here's the mind-blowing part. Ripple's acquisition of G-Treasury could potentially funnel $12.5 trillion in global payment flows through the XRP Ledger. Just let that sink in for a moment. We're talking about $12.5 trillion in volume. Now, I've been reading through the comments and I see some of you saying this only benefits RLUSD, not XRP itself. But here's the thing, and this is crucial. Anything that flows across the XRP ledger benefits XRP. Every single transaction adds value and pressure to XRP's price. That's just how the ecosystem works. On the flip side, I'm also seeing some pretty wild predictions out there. Some folks are already claiming this news alone will rocket XRP to $1,000. Look, I love the enthusiasm, but let's pump the brakes for a second. The truth is, we honestly don't know how quickly, or even how dramatically, this will impact XRP's price. What we do know is that this is another massive piece of the puzzle falling into place. And that's something to get excited about.
So Chad Steingraber absolutely nailed it when he pointed this out. And honestly, these connections are everywhere once you start looking. Let me break this down for you because it's actually incredible. G-Treasury isn't just some random company. They're deeply embedded in the SWIFT system. They're part of SWIFT's Certified Partner Program, and they're literally providing global banking connectivity and hosting for SWIFT's Alliance Lite 2 platform. Plus, they've partnered up to offer SWIFT reference data for IBAN and ABA lookups right within G-Treasury's workflow. Can you see what's happening here? This is yet another massive connection between Ripple and SWIFT. Now, here's where I need you to stop listening to those mainstream financial experts who keep saying Ripple will never take any business from SWIFT. They're absolutely, completely wrong, and here's why. Think about this for a second. The United States weaponized SWIFT against Russia and other countries. And guess what? Those countries are absolutely fed up with it. Banks around the world are getting frustrated too, and for good reason. Right now, banks have tons of money just sitting locked up in Nostro Vostro accounts all over the globe. And this is happening at the worst possible time, when banks are facing a serious liquidity crisis. But here's the game changer. If these banks start using RippleNet and XRP, they could actually unlock all those frozen accounts and bring that money back home. Imagine what they could do with that liquidity. New mortgages, car loans, business investments. The possibilities are endless. Mark my words. You're going to see banks slowly but surely leave SWIFT behind. Countries are going to push away from this outdated system because they're desperately looking for a better alternative. And that alternative? It's already here, and it's called RippleNet. Time Traveler says you need 2,000 XRP or more in 2025 to be a millionaire. That means the price of XRP has to go to 500. Listen, here's the bottom line when it comes to investing. You grab whatever you can afford, right? Because let's be real, more is always better when we're talking about potential life-changing gains. But here's the million-dollar question that everyone's asking me in the comments. Will XRP actually hit $500 per coin during this bull run? Look, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Nobody really knows for sure if that's going to happen. And trust me, I've been seeing some absolutely wild predictions floating around out there. We're talking about people calling for anywhere between $1,000 to $2,500 per XRP during this bull run alone. I mean, can you imagine? But here's the thing. I like to keep my feet on the ground. I'm staying conservative with my predictions, and I think we're looking at somewhere between $50 to $100 for this cycle. Now, before you jump in the comments, let me be clear. This is just my prediction. Could it go higher? Absolutely. I'm not putting a ceiling on it. But here's what we really need to be watching. How much institutional money is actually flowing into those ETFs? How is regulatory clarity affecting XRP's adoption? These are the real factors that matter. Honestly, I think it's way too early to be throwing around numbers like $500 for this cycle. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see it. But for XRP to reach those mind-blowing price points, We're going to need something huge. XRP actually flowing around the world as real, on-demand liquidity. We need banks and financial institutions using it for actual transactions, not just speculation. That said, and this is exciting, we're literally on the verge of massive institutional adoption right now, and that could absolutely send XRP's price into orbit in the short term. So while I'm staying conservative, I'm definitely keeping my eyes wide open for what's coming next.
Okay, this is absolutely huge, and I had to share this with you guys immediately. Ripple and XRP somehow managed to get included on what's apparently a very exclusive, very short guest list for the President of the United States' ballroom grand opening. I mean, think about that for a second. We're talking about the most exclusive event you can imagine, and Ripple made the cut. Now, if you've been following along with my previous videos, you know exactly what this could mean for SBI holdings, right? This is the kind of high-level recognition and networking that could change everything. So here's what we know. Ripple actually made it onto this incredibly prestigious list. And now, this president's new gala is happening very soon, and of course, you know how our community gets. Everyone's immediately jumping to conclusions. The speculation is already going wild, with people saying, oh, this has to mean Ripple's going to sit down with the president and pitch him on RRL USD and XRP. But let's pump the brakes for just a second here, folks. Here's the reality check we all need. As long as you donate enough money, you can basically make it onto these guest lists. That's just how these high-level political events work. And if I'm being completely honest with you, they're probably not going to talk about crypto at all during this event. Let's be real. This is most likely going to be just another one of those big-ticket fundraising galas where everyone networks, takes photos, and writes checks. Now, don't get me wrong. Having Ripple's name on that guest list is still pretty incredible for legitimacy and optics. But we shouldn't get our hopes up thinking this is going to be some game-changing crypto policy meeting. Look, I get it. Everyone's out here speculating about what's really going to happen at these events. And honestly, that's totally normal. We all want to connect the dots and figure out what it means for our investments. But here's what I find really interesting. Ripple keeps showing up at the White House. Like, this isn't a one-time thing anymore. And you know what? That consistent presence could actually be a really good sign for all of us XRP holders. Now, I've been seeing analysts telling XRP holders something pretty bold. They're saying, don't sell your XRP even when it hits $20. And honestly, that's some serious conviction right there. Think about it. If these analysts are telling people to hold even at $20, what does that tell you about where they think this thing is really headed? All right, everyone, I need to be crystal clear about something once and for all, and this is really important for you to understand. There is absolutely no technical analysis out there that can accurately predict XRP's price when we're talking about a true utility market. None. And here's why that matters so much. You've probably seen all these analysts telling you to sell your XRP when it hits $10 or $20, right? They're basing this on Bitcoin's speculative bull run patterns, the same old cycles we've seen before. But here's what they're completely missing. We're not just riding another speculative wave here, folks. We're literally entering an entirely new financial system, one that's going to last for the next 70 years. Think about that for a second. We're not talking about some short-term crypto pump and dump. We're talking about the foundation of how money moves around the world for the next 7 decades. That changes everything about how we should be thinking about XRP's potential value. Listen, I'm going to be straight up with you. I would not take any profits on XRP anywhere under $10. And honestly, I think it's going way higher than that. The analyst I mentioned earlier is absolutely right about this. We are literally standing on the edge of a completely new financial system, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that you're invested in right now. If you sell your XRP too soon, I genuinely think you're going to have some serious regrets down the road. Here's what I think is going to happen, and this keeps me up at night. The price is going to change dramatically, all at once. Picture this scenario. People are going to be analyzing the market, saying things like, oh, this looks like the top, or there's a slight pullback on XRP right now, maybe I should take some profits. But then, at some point, and we won't see it coming, they're just going to flip the switch on this whole thing. The banks are going to come out of their testing phases, and we're going to watch XRP's price absolutely explode. And that's honestly the one thing that always worried me about selling XRP. You know what I mean? You sell your bag feeling pretty smart about taking profits, and then bam! All of a sudden it reaches these price points that we could only dream about. I'm talking $1,000, $2,000, maybe even higher. The scary part? I know it's going to happen fast when it finally happens. That lightning-quick transformation is exactly why I've never been able to bring myself to sell my entire bag. I just can't risk missing out on that moment.
XRP, and I don't suggest you do it either.
SEC Chair promises a more open framework for digital assets.
So here's something really interesting. Atkins, who took over the SEC back in April, just made a huge announcement at DC FinTech Week. And honestly, this could be a game changer for all of us. Instead of the SEC just sitting on the sidelines and basically policing crypto like some kind of financial hall monitor, Atkins is signaling a massive shift in priorities. He straight up said that the commission now sees digital assets and tokenization as their first order of business. Can you believe that? But here's what I'm thinking, and I know you guys are thinking the same thing. How about making your first order of business approving those spot XRP ETFs? I mean, come on, everyone is waiting for this to happen. And you know what's the most frustrating part? It's like when you're waiting for something that you absolutely know is going to send XRP's price to the moon, but it just keeps getting delayed over and over again. That honestly ticks people off more than anything else. We all know these ETF approvals are coming. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But man, the waiting game is brutal when you can see the finish line right there. And check this out. We've got some breaking news. CoinShares just filed their XRP ETF Amendment Number 2, Form S1/A, with the US SEC. And this was dated October 10th, 2025. This is honestly another huge step toward what could be the very first US XRP spot ETF approval ever. The walls between traditional finance and crypto are literally crumbling right before our eyes. But here's something that's been bugging me, and I know a lot of you have been thinking the same thing. We all know Bitcoin got that first mover advantage when it came to ETFs, right? Then Ethereum came next in line. So here's my question. Are they purposely dragging their feet on these XRP spot ETFs? Because I'm seeing so many people in the comments saying that's exactly what's happening. They're convinced these could have been approved way back before the government shutdown even happened, but everything just seems to keep getting delayed. Are they giving Bitcoin more time to have its moment in the spotlight before the party comes to an end? Because here's what I think is going to happen, and this is where it gets really interesting. Once these XRP spot ETFs finally get approved and go live, I have a feeling we're going to see money start flowing out of those Bitcoin ETFs. And honestly, the Ethereum ETFs will probably take a hit too. It's like they're setting up the dominoes, and XRP might just be the one that knocks them all down. But you know what? You could only delay something so long. This is going to happen. XRP is still very bullish on the monthly Bollinger Band signal. All right, let's talk technical analysis for a second. If you're looking at the Bollinger Bands right now, everything still looks absolutely incredible for XRP. I mean, seriously, it looks like it's just coiled up and ready for a massive breakout to happen. But here's the million-dollar question that's driving us all crazy. Nobody knows when it's going to happen. You can see all the signals are there, screaming at us that something big is coming. But honestly, it feels like we're stuck in the longest calm before the storm in crypto history. And man, this storm has been approaching for so long that we're all just sitting here like, come on already, when is it actually going to get here? I totally get that frustration. Trust me, I feel it too. Remember back in 2023? There were so many times when people thought things were finally going to turn around for XRP. Like when we got that clarity from the judge, everyone was pumped, but then nothing really happened. Then the case officially ended, and people were like, okay, this is it. This is going to send XRP to the moon. And again, not much happened. But here's what I really think is going on. What we've seen so far with XRP, I honestly believe it's just been a correction. I don't even think we've started the real run yet. I think we've got a long, long way to go still. The thing is, everybody wants the exact same thing right now. We all want this breakout to finally begin. The anticipation is killing us. And listen, I get that frustration 100%. But here's something I can promise you. You're going to see FOMO like you've never seen before.
And it's coming sooner than you think. You see these crazy lines forming outside gold bullion dealerships right now? This is some serious blow-off-top energy happening. And it's about to happen with XRP too. Here's the thing that's absolutely mind-blowing to me. Right now, nobody wants to buy XRP. Like, people are just ignoring it completely. But wait until this thing finally breaks out. You're going to see so many people FOMOing into this cryptocurrency so fast that it'll make your head spin. People are going to be absolutely shocked by how quickly the sentiment changes. Think about this. Right now, nobody wants to buy XRP under $3. But I guarantee you, they'll be FOMOing in hard above $5, even above $10. And here's the crazy part. Once XRP reaches $20 and beyond, you'll still have first-time buyers jumping in like it's going out of style. You know what's really funny? Even the people you told about XRP months or years ago, you remember those conversations, right? Right now, they don't want to hear about crypto at all. They're always the first ones to point out, oh look, crypto's crashing again. That's exactly why I don't invest in that stuff. But mark my words, once XRP breaks out and starts making headlines, those same people will be calling you up asking how to buy crypto. Huckle. It happens every single time.
And BlackRock just told CNBC they anticipate tremendous growth ahead for their crypto digital asset ETF. Take a listen.
Well, I think we're going to continue to see tremendous momentum in digital asset ETFs. They're growing at a tremendous rate, and we're seeing a lot more accessibility to them through the approvals on certain financial platforms in the United States that open access to financial advisors to buy them.
Did you guys catch what they put on the screen there? ETF outflows for 2025 are sitting at $6 billion. That's a massive amount of money flowing out of these Bitcoin ETFs right now. But here's what's crazy. They're still running that marketing machine at full speed. Bitcoin's still all over mainstream media news with headlines like, oh, this is just a slight pullback. Get in now before the next pump. They desperately need that retail money flowing into Bitcoin. And you know what? They're going to pull the exact same playbook with XRP. Once XRP really starts to break out, all of a sudden they're going to be trying to get as many people in as they possibly can. But here's the kicker. They don't want you buying XRP at $3. They want you buying at $50. That's when mainstream media will be talking about it 24/7. We've literally seen this movie before. Remember the 2017 to 2018 run? Nobody was talking about XRP when it was under a penny. But once it hit above $3, suddenly everyone was an XRP expert. The same exact thing is going to happen here, and I'm telling you, the money's going to start flowing out of those Bitcoin ETFs. People don't even see it coming yet, but these institutions, they're already looking down the road. They're looking at actual technology, real innovation. They want something they can actually use on their balance sheets. They want something that solves genuine, real-world problems. And that's exactly why they're going to invest heavily in XRP spot ETFs when they finally go live. We're just waiting on the government to reopen so these things can actually launch. I'm sure we'll get another deadline once everything's back up and running. I'm really hoping Paul Atkins doesn't drag his feet on this. We need him to get this done as soon as humanly possible. Until that happens, just stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up today's video.